I have the illustrious honor of having a few minutes with Mr. Magazine, Samir Husni. So sorry about that. Um, Also, Dr. Magazine, quite frankly, but he's too nice to make people call him Doctor. So, tell me a little bit about what you're going to be speaking about today.
Mainly my topic is what's the future of print in a digital age, and how can print survive this digital age? Because as an industry, I mean, there's nothing wrong with the technology that's called ink on paper. I really want to focus more on what are we going to put in that ink on paper in order to ensure that we are creating something that is necessary, sufficient, and relevant to our audience. So technically speaking, I mean, I'm going to talk more about the audience than the product.
Right.
Because without an audience, we don't have a product.
And we had a brief conversation yesterday about personalizing magazines. And you mentioned something interesting about that consumers can't be responsible for all the content because there is an element of surprise that might lead them to another purchase. So how do we balance where the industry is pushing us for personalization and still keeping the needs of the consumers in line?
Well, you know, there's a big difference between trying to personalize a magazine or just using gimmicks to personalize a magazine. Just seeing my name on the cover of every issue I receive and seeing my name inside the magazine and seeing my name in every article is really, to me, not personalization. It's just like the wizardry of the technology.
Right.
Personalization is when I feel that the editors, the publishers have really know me exactly like as Google knows me. I mean, Google knows me more than my wife knows me. So how can I reach that usage of that data? How can I use that information and produce the best relevant magazine for me, plus based on my history, based on the relationship I have with the magazine, surprise me with some things that I never knew that I needed to know about.
Right.
Because if I only receive what I think I need to know, you can kiss our society goodbye.
This is true. Who do you think out there is doing a good job at what you're speaking about now?
I mean, it depends whether you are in the market for a specific magazine or a specific genre or I mean, to me, I think like Hearst and Condé Nast and I mean, mainly Hearst is doing a great job in terms of like putting value in their print. Condé Nast has started doing the same thing. Meredith have started to do the same thing. Rodell. I mean, all of a sudden, all the big major media companies are investing in enhancing their print product. Bauer, on the other hand, has become the master of the newsstands. They know exactly what gets you addicted and brings you back time after time after time. So the industry as a whole, I think they had a big wake-up call in 2015, and we're no longer, chiming in our miseries of 2008 and 2009. But is anybody actually reaching the level where, you know, I feel like this is my magazine?
Right.
We're still quite a distance from that. I mean, content marketers are doing it. I mean, when I receive a magazine from Lexus, for example, and I see this great article about patio furniture or the grill on the patio, I mean, it has nothing to do with the car.
Right.
But they are telling me if you are an owner of a Lexus, this is the type of patio you should have, or you should like to keep
Right.
up with the standards of the.
It's a lifestyle.
Lexus. It's
that
a
they're
lifestyle
showing.
that
Right.
they're showing. Yeah.
Well, I know that you speak at so many places. Do you have a website or something where people can find out where you are and maybe subscribe to a newsletter or anything like that? Do you have a magazine? Does Mr. Magazine have a magazine?
Yeah, actually, we just launched the first issue of a magazine called Amplify to help amplify the future of print in a digital age.
Wonderful.
And it's coming from the Magazine Innovation Center. I was one of the original folks who actually have a commercial website, mrmagazine.com. And in it, you will find nine blocks when you enter in which you can subscribe to my Mr. Magazine Monday morning newsletter. You can check in on my blog, mrmagazine.me. There's a launch monitor in which you can look at every new magazine that have appeared on the marketplace in the previous month. I mean, I love print. I'm a print advocate, but I will use any digital device to help me amplify the future of print.
Right.
And that's why I started the Magazine Innovation Center in 2009 at the University of Mississippi to help amplify the future of print in a digital age. I mean, back then everybody thought Samir have gone nuts.
Right.
I mean, he is head over heels with his love for print. He can see straight. I mean, everything is new media, everything is digital. You know, the Columbia Journalism Review last December had an article that says print is the new media.
Right.
And they gave me credit that in 2009, Samir predicted that, or Samir said that that's what's going to be the case. None of the medium as we know them will ever disappear,
Yes.
especially print that tackles all your five senses. I mean, that textile, that feeling, that tactile feeling is non-replaceable. I mean, just finding something in the mailbox. I see the look at my grandson, who's 5 years old, when he gets his highlights high five. I mean, it's like, wow. I mean, my new magazine is here. I
Right.
mean, it's not like pixels on a screen. Now
No.
you see them, now you don't.
Right.
And so it's I mean, I'm glad that the industry is on the way of recovery, and even the biggest pundits who said print is dead are now saying print is changing. I mean, they
Yes.
still would not admit that print
Right.
still is alive and kicking and well.
Right.
So they have to use I think they have to go through rehab for some time before they say print is alive.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And everybody, subscribe to anything Mr. Magazine says, because this guy is on point. Thank you again.
Thank you.